after watching Mia Chanel's video, it kind of was confirmation for me that I need to get this video out since it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. After hearing her story, it was a lot of confirmation in her story for me. So I want to get this video out. I want to be transparent during the process. Before I give birth to my new baby, because I am pregnant, under 2, this will be 2 under 2. Before I bring her into this world, I want to release all of this, I want to bring her in clean energy. And I also want to heal the energy that I have here for my current 1-year-old. We've been programmed to hold things in, to suffer in silence, to not protect ourselves, to protect other people. And we've been taught that releasing energy and releasing our stories is negative, and it's really not. It's something that we need to do to heal, and that is what my channel is about. So in order for me to tell y'all about the day that I lost my mom, well, not the day, when I lost my mom, because it was a series of events, I have to tell you about what led into me even getting myself into that situation. All abuse and domestic violence isn't physical. A lot of times, somebody playing with your head, playing games with your emotions is just as significant as physical trauma. The only thing is that it's something that you cannot see. With physical trauma, you can see it and you can physically heal. But with emotional trauma, it can be suppressed. And it can become bigger, and it can lead to other type of things. It's often the same symptoms as PTSD. So reactive abuse is basically after being poked and prodded and played with so much, you react and you either abuse back physically, mentally, or emotionally, or try to harm yourself, or anything of that nature, sabotage yourself. Reactive abuse is real. It's no excuse to inflict pain on others or to lose your mind, but at the end of the day, that is the time process of how it works out. I had just got out of a 4-year type of situation. It was really 5 years, but we were together in each other's space for about 4 years, and then that 1 year I was pretty much by myself. However, I was with someone that was very, very controlling. He actually had a child on me. And we had plans, to build together. One day he just stopped answering the phone, and I was confused. We had went through the whole college experience together. I actually helped this ninja graduate. I did all of his work the last semester so that he can go intern at Sanderson Farm. And we had been through a lot of things, but it was he finally was getting it together for me, and I was seeing the fruit of all of the work that I put in. It was just all working out, and he just randomly stopped answering my phone calls, and I was so confused because we had made so much progress from where we had usually been. He finally answered, and he was like, "Kiana, I can't talk to you right now. I'm worried about this baby situation." And I was really stuck, because that was the last thing that I ever thought in my life would happen. And it was a pattern with him. I usually would think that we were here, and then God would plant me around a person that would know him. And literally, it had been times where I was doing hair and the girl would be talking about him, and I would be like, "You talking about the one with a blue truck?" And they would be like, "Yeah, I talked to him." And it was a cycle. So every time I would get comfortable with where we stood, it would be something that just everything came crashing down. It's crazy how this is somebody that I would pray about, and I've always been a rip the band-aid off type of person, but I've always been very, very easy to manipulate because of my codependency. And I'll go into codependency and why I do think that I have been codependent. So after I found out about the baby, it really it hurt, because it was really unexpected. I went on this whole spiritual self-care journey, what I'm going through now, and I really got close with God. I kind of went Pentecostal. I just really got literal about the Bible and healing and things of that nature. And I remember detaching myself from him. He went MIA for a while. He didn't talk to me. He dropped the bomb about the baby, and then he kind of just went MIA for a while. During that time, I took that time to heal. I took that time to get close with God. I wasn't listening to music. I was covering my head. I was, going to church and Bible study by myself. I was actually at a place of peace. I wasn't being, manipulated. And even though I had so many questions about, like the worst relationship endings are the ones that you don't have closure from. So I had so many questions like, is he gonna come back? Am I gonna be vindicated? Is he at least gonna miss me? Like I could move on, but like he really just gonna leave me like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? I kid you not, 7 months into my healing journey, he calls me. I was in Pensacola, Florida on vacation, and he called me. And it totally messed up my head because I had totally detached from the idea of everything. Of course, I still had questions, but I went from thinking about him every day and what was going on to accepting it for what it was. So whenever he resurfaced, that's when I started praying, and I'm like, God, I've been asking you to remove whatever isn't for me, and then you bring him, back. Sometimes it'll be temptation just to see, have you really healed? Are you really where you think you are? Geez, it's hard to like recap all of this because it's like I am over this situation, but it's just crazy to know that the similarities with how cycles, like if you're not truly healed and if you don't truly repair, a cycle could repeat itself, but it'll repeat itself 10 times harder than the first cycle. With this situation, when I did get back home, he popped up. So when the pop-up started, he would always knock, and I will always be home for the pop-ups. And it was, I don't know, to this day, I feel like he used to watch me because I was in school. It was just ironic that every time he would pop up, I would be home, And he would kind of force himself on me, like sexually, emotionally. He would come and, just, I want to check on you. He would act like he was like a big brother to me, And, I want to check on you and make sure that you're straight, and do you need anything? And then, he would force himself on me sexually. And a lot of times I wouldn't like consider it rape because it was somewhat consensual. It was something that I didn't want to do, but I didn't want to fight with him, either. And then, he would go through my phone, go through my things. And it was just very, very, very obsessive, like who been over here, and stuff like that. And there was times that I would try not to, answer the door, but he would just knock harder. And that's what I'm saying. I felt like he would watch me because he would know that I was there and available, and he wouldn't go away. And at that time, it was like I didn't want to call the police or anything because this is somebody that I truly, even though I was going through that healing process, he came abruptly and it was confusing, So it was somebody that I had all of these mixed emotions about, and I'm praying about him and he pop up at the door. And I'm like, well, this is God. And, I'm like, I don't know. I remember one day coming home and I had just got a new MacBook computer. And when I came home, the computer was cracked. I just didn't think he had a key to my house. So long story short, I came home and my MacBook computer was broken. First, I called my mom, and this was the first time that I actually seeked help from the outside because I was tired of my space being abused. I was tired of the manipulation. I was tired of, at this point, I know you're not for me. At this point, I know this isn't God sending you back to me. Like, at this point, this is like some weird stuff. You had a baby on me, you pop up, and then you forcing yourself on me, and you looking through my stuff, and so I kind of just wanted to retreat at this point. So I called my mom and I told her what happened, and she's like, you need to call the police, like this is crazy. And I'm like, okay, but I called him as well, and I was like, have you been in my house? Like, it's no other way that if anybody else would have seen a MacBook computer, they wouldn't have broke it. They would have took it, and it would have been some sort of break-in. I remember unlocking the door when I came in the house, and when I talked to him, he's like, what are you talking about? I didn't know you had a MacBook. Like, when did you get that? And so I'm really in my mind like, well, did I break it? Like, because it was under the cover. I'm like, dang, did I? But what I think happened was he came in, unlocked my door and came in, and the computer was on my bed. He probably came and sat on my bed, and when he did that, he broke it, and then he fled. That's the only thing that I could think of, because I know for a fact I didn't break my computer. Like, I know it for a fact. And so I did call the police, and of course, I knew it was nothing that they could really do. There was no signs of forced entry. We didn't have any type of record of anything, but I wanted to have on record that this is something that is going on. This is the person that I think it is, just so that it was documented. And I did tell him, like, I called the police. I'm serious about, leave me alone. I don't want to do this anymore. I've been here healing. You want to come back. You want to manipulate me more and keep me in this cycle. And I'm not signing up for it anymore. And, I really thought that was going to be his warning sign. Mind you, he have a degree, a corporate job. At the time he did. So I'm thinking that, he got too much to lose to want to keep playing with me. Literally, it was one day where I was sitting in my car. I was talking to this dude that I met on the gas station. At the gas station, we were talking on the phone. And I had my door open. It was hot outside. And he pops up literally behind me. And he like, who you on the phone with? And I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is serious. This isn't like anything normal. This isn't practical. Like our generation, a lot of times we take these toxic relationships and we look at them as if they're love. Like, he pop up on me because he loved me. He want to check up on me. Like I told you, he would pop up on me and make sure that I had stuff and groceries and do I need anything, and you know what I'm saying? So that's when I decided, okay, this is like way too much. Let me move around. I'm gonna move. So my lease was up in a few months, and I ended up getting my locks changed and everything. I blocked him. Of course, he was still calling from like block numbers and things like that. But at this point, I was truly over it. I started to go out and put energy back into myself, because I had been controlled for so long. I didn't know when he was gonna pop up. And also in our relationship, it was a lot of times like in college where he would manipulate me to stay home. Like, so I didn't go to homecoming or Spring Fest or, South by Southwest. He would do things to make me feel like I needed to stay home, or he would like kind of make me feel like if I did go out and do something that I was a hoe, so it was just like I was for 4 to 5 years manipulated into believing that was my thing, being a homebody. I ended up starting to go out, drinking a little bit and just having fun, enjoying life. I got really, really close with this girl, and we are no longer friends anymore, but we would go out. I would always have to pay for everything because she was always like in a toxic situation. Her mama was putting her out, or her boyfriend beat her so bad to where her school was showing, or stuff like that. So I would often like just look out, and I've always been like that. That is the part of codependency that I wanted to talk about. Even though my dad lives in Houston, a lot of times he lived right down the street and we didn't communicate. It was always me having to come to him. So it was like me being out here by myself. For the most part, I had my mom and my granny, but a lot of times I was so busy healing or hiding what I was going through to where I couldn't really talk to them. They feel when things are going on with you. A lot of times I would self-isolate and kind of just, do my own thing. So I would clink up with these people that I would know weren't right for me, but because I needed somebody or wanted somebody in my space that could somewhat relate, I would subject myself to whatever. Anyways, me and her, we would go out and she would, get me out of the house and stuff like that before we did fall out. And, I ended up finally moving from that apartment when my lease was up, and I went to a brand new apartment. It was a townhouse. It was 1 bedroom, but it was upstairs, downstairs, hardwood floors, floating stairs, just really, really nice. I had a new car. I was freshly graduated from Prairie View A&M University with a business management degree. Like, you really couldn't tell me nothing. I was doing hair out of my house, but for me, it was like ideal, like I had a whole downstairs where I could do it. All of my furniture, it was going to be paid off within 45 days. I had basically I was the shit in my mind. And when me and my friend fell out, it kind of led me to that point of loneliness again. So I started to interact with people more on Facebook in the DMs, because literally after that breakup with he who shall not be named, niggas would hit me up in my inbox, and I would be like, they would be like, hey beautiful, I would be like, have a blessed day, I hope all is well. Like, I wasn't open to talking to anybody. So when me and her kind of stopped clicking, That is when I met the second cycle.